Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has ordered Ukrainian forces to withdraw from the eastern city of Severdonetsk. The fall of the city comes after weeks of fierce fighting between Ukrainian forces and the Russian army and their proxy forces in the region. The relentless Russian bombardment reduced the city to ruins and left almost no building undamaged. President Zelensky later accused Moscow of trying to destroy the Donbass region. He went on to say in his nightly address, quote, "There were massive air and artillery strikes in Donbass. The occupiers' goal here is unchanged. They want to destroy the entire Donbass step by step." He went on to call for an acceleration of arms deliveries to Ukraine and for the supply of modern, Western, weaponry. In particular, heavy weapons such as artillery and surface-to-surface missiles. It's the heavier weaponry that's crucial for Ukraine to be able to hit back against the Russian invader. Russia has gradually narrowed the focus of its war in Ukraine, down from a full-scale invasion of the entire country, to a more focused campaign in the east. The Russians hope to maximize the benefit of their concentrated artillery and heavy armor against Ukrainian units that would be more exposed on the open terrain of the Donbass. Like most things in this war, even the Russian scaled-down campaign has not gone according to plan. Having already been humiliated at Kharkiv, Hostomel Airport and the gates of Kiev, the Russians had hoped a quick victory in the east might help restore the reputation of the Russian army. However, the renewed Russian campaign in the Donbass has been marked by heavy losses and humiliation on the banks of the Siversky Donets River. In an attempt to learn lessons from earlier failures, the Russians are attempting to use heavy artillery to pound smaller targets into submission, then invade the rubble. The relentless Russian shelling shows a complete disregard for the safety of the hundreds of civilians thought to still be trapped in the city. Civilians that Russian propaganda claims to be liberating. The Ukrainian forces defended this city bitterly, and inflicted heavy casualties on Russian forces, killing and wounding thousands of soldiers and destroying hundreds of aircraft and vehicles. However, the Russians have made this small settlement the main focus of their campaign in the country, and continue to enjoy a huge numerical superiority in the number of artillery pieces they can bring to bear. At present, Ukrainians can only hit back with a fraction of the number of shells that the Russians can fire. The Russians have switched to this slow attritional approach, because it's harder for the Ukrainians to counter using their smaller, more nimble attacks with light infantry. The Russians have been able to make slow and grinding progress in the region. As a result, Ukrainian forces in the area are forced to withdraw to more secure positions further west, or risk becoming encircled by Russian forces approaching from the south. Most observers of the war are of the opinion that the city of Severodonetsk holds much more symbolic importance for the Russians, rather than holding significant strategic value. The value of the city is that it's the last remaining Ukrainian stronghold in the Luhansk region, and its capture by Russian forces would enable Putin to make some sort of a face-saving declaration of victory. Although it's clear to Ukrainians, and to the world, that it would be a hollow victory. The West continues to supply Ukraine with a steady diet of heavy weapons, however so far, they are too few in number to make any material difference on the battlefield. These Western weapon systems are often complex, and unfamiliar to Ukrainian military personnel who grew up in the Soviet ecosystem. However, the Ukrainian spirit and determination to fight has enabled them to learn some of these weapon systems in record time. The Ukrainians just need more of these heavy weapon systems, plus a little bit of time to master them. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like the help will come soon enough to save the city of Severodonetsk. But one thing is clear, the Ukrainians have every intention of returning to the city one day to reclaim what's rightfully theirs, and one day live in a peaceful country. We hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe buttons. And we look forward to seeing you next time.